Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Frame Live. My name's Dottie San Martin, and I am one of the hosts today, along with Orly Rivera. Hi, Orly.
How's it going, Dottie?
It's going great. Well, Orly, we have a celebrity in the house today, and you and I have been very excited about this show. It's been on the books for a couple of weeks now, and we've been very, very excited about it. So I'm going to just jump right in. First of all, I want to say hi, Gigi. So viewers, we have Gigi, and her name is actually Gazmine Mason. See there, Gigi, I told you I was going to mess it up. So that's my one goof up here. It's really interesting. Gigi is a 4-time Olympic gold medalist and the first African-American to win singles and all events gold medals. That is quite an accomplishment. But as if that weren't enough, Gigi has gone on to inspire others and to help others in so many ways. And that's what we're going to talk about today is what makes Gigi tick, what got you into this, and we're just going to have a nice conversation to learn a little bit more about this very inspirational athlete that we have on our show today. So welcome, Gigi. It is such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys. I really do appreciate it.
Well, you are very welcome. It was so exciting. Orly is fairly new to bowling, and I have to share with you kind of how he found you. Our goal here at Beyond the Frame is really to find the movers and the shakers, to find people that have been very inspirational, to find those role models, and to find those stories that are worth resharing. And he actually was searching bowling inspiration. And guess who popped up?
What, really?
It does not surprise me.
Oh, wow.
Whatsoever. So, Orly, I'm going to kick it over to you, and I'm going to let you start us out today.
Yeah, like she mentioned, I was like inspirational bowlers, I'm looking at all these different things and you popped up and then I'm like looking at your website, which I had heard of you, but I'm like looking at your resume and I'm like, okay, she's in an interview with Robin Roberts, Good Morning America. She's hanging out with Mookie Betts, which by the way, I'm jealous because I'm a huge Dodger fan. The next time you see him, tell him he needs to be on the frame.
Right.
Right.
No, yeah, I'm seeing all these pictures. I think there was one with Ice Cube. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to reach out anyways, a little beyond the frame. We're up and coming, but we're getting there. And, reached out and let Dottie know. She's like, oh, that'd be great. And then within a few days, we got a response and we were super excited to have you. So yeah, we want to let's learn a little bit more about you and have a few questions for you. So my first question is, so obviously you did a lot when it comes to bowling, but take us back to the beginning. When did your love for bowling start? Like, how did you get into bowling?
So I started at the age of 10. But like before I started bowling, I was into like a lot of different other activities or hobbies, kind of like any other kid, just trying to find their niche.
Yeah.
And so I did like basketball, swimming, piano, like ballet, tap. I did like a little bit of everything. And then my dad's friend at the time, well, they're still friends, but my dad's friend, him and his girlfriend at the time, who was my childhood coaches, they started like a youth league to get the inner city kids off the streets, like give us something to do to be productive. And that's when I started that at 10. And then ever since then, I never stopped. But I was kind of like doing that and a little bit of my other activities at the same time. And then, my parents could kind of tell, I think maybe parents could tell when their kids are into something. Because, for example, swimming, it's like summertime and I have swimming lessons. And I'm like, just making these ridiculous excuses like, I have like a cold or like it's too cold. I was just making stuff up. So I stopped that. Everything that I was into, I waited till like the year was over or the season was over. I completed it, because my parents like when you start something, you don't quit. So I waited to end, and then I just spent more time with bowling. I believe it was my sophomore year in high school is when I really just made that like the focus. And then my dad was like, yeah, it's probably one of the best decisions I ever made. And I was like, well, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. You said in high school. So I was going to say kind of at what point were you like, I want to be a pro bowler? Or do you think, was it where you thought like, I want to be a pro bowler, or were people around you seeing like, hey, she has a potential to like be big in this sport? Was it more people around you, or was it you thinking I'm shooting for the stars and going to become a professional bowler?
So like initially, like being a professional was never a professional bowler or athlete was never like never crossed my mind. Because you know, when I first was introduced to the sport, you know, his name is Marty Jones and Coach Monica Scott, but I call him Moody, so like I'll probably refer to him as Moody. He was like, you know, they told us like you can get college scholarships for this. So me and my parents were like, you can get a college scholarship for bowling, like free education, you know. So we, just like many other people, aren't aware of the opportunities. We weren't aware of the opportunities that bowling presents. And once I got like really, you know, there's like this little story. I got like a last place champ trophy. I can get into that if you guys. It was a motivator for me, and ever since then is when I really started working like even harder because I wasn't working as hard as I thought. And at that point, you know, I was working hard. Then it got into my sophomore year, and I was like, okay, 2 more years. Like, I want to get a college scholarship. And at that point, I just wanted to be really, really good. I wanted to be great, and I just wanted to win at every level. So it was never really like, oh, I want to be a professional bowler, but it was more of like, okay, get to college and I'm from Rhode Island, so we don't have high school bowling. So, like, that's a whole nother story too. But once I got to college, it was like, okay, well, I want to win here. Okay, then it's like, okay, I want to make junior team USA and I want to win there. I want to make team USA. I want to win there. And then in the midst of that, like what's after college, being a professional athlete. So I want to do that and win. So for me, the motivation was more internal and just wanting to like be great and just win at every single level.
So it's interesting. You said that the motivator was the last place trophy. I'm curious, do you still have that trophy?
Yeah, unfortunately I do. And well, actually not unfortunately, fortunately, because that definitely changed the trajectory of, you know, like me just working harder. Because before I would like practice but kind of like go through the motions. I mean, I was like young too. But I think I received the trophy at 12. So it had been like 2 years into bowling. I think 12 or 13 maybe. And it was like we have these things called NEJSTs, so like New England scratch tournaments, junior scratch. It was the end of the year, so everyone's getting their awards. It was the last tournament of the season. Everyone's getting their awards, whether you're like most improved or whatever it is. So then like they mentioned my name, and I was like, oh, like I got an award, like okay, because I'm like, award for what? They were like, you know, and I was Jasmine at the time. I didn't get the nickname Gigi yet, but it was, you know, so the award last place champ goes to Jasmine Mason. And I was like, last place? Like, how do you get, and that was the name of the trophy, last place champ. And it's like, how do you get awarded for coming in last place? Like, I've never heard of it. Where I'm from, we don't really celebrate coming in last place. You know, so my coaches, Moody made fun of me. The kids in the league, my dad, and then like I got that, like every single day he would put the trophy like on my dresser or somewhere where it was visible, and I would get so upset and I would get it and like go put it in the basement or put it somewhere else, and he would grab it and he would go put it back, and I was just like,
Wow. Yeah.
That was like one of the, I would say, times in my career when it made me want to just work harder and be better, and it like something shifted and it's just like, yeah, I thought I was working hard. I'm really not if I'm getting last place champ trophies. So that was definitely one of the motivators. I would say early on that made me want to just be better because I was not as good as I thought.
that one little trophy lit a fire, and it's now it's a wildfire, right? That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Okay, well, you know, it's interesting to see that sometimes the least little thing, you know, can really start you in a completely different direction. One of the things that Orly and I talked about a little before going on the show is, you know, you are a role model to so many young people, young and old. But it's interesting to see how you have put the image that you have for these young people that look up to you is so positive, and it's so encouraging to so many people. I think I was sharing with you even that we have a young man that his goal, he was on the show. He actually his hero was Jason Belmonte, and so we surprised him and had Jason on the show as a surprise. But you know, his goal is to become a professional bowler, And you have a lot of people that want to walk in your shoes. They want to be like you. And that's just such a remarkable position to be in. And you have chosen that to be such a positive influence. Whereas sometimes we see professional athletes that, maybe some of their things that are brought to life are not always what we want our children to be modeled after.
Right.
So for that, I commend you for being the role model that you are and having the impact that you have on so many people. So
Thank you.
Yeah, and she's mentioning the impact you have on so many people. Can you let the people that may not know some of the other things you do other than bowling, like some of the organizations you help with that you have that are yours?
Yeah, so just recently, I can't remember if it was this year or last year, but my parents and I started a foundation, or our foundation, called the Jasmine Mason Foundation. And the mission, like hence the t-shirt or sweater, and the mission of that is to foster like education, nutrition, and health, and just educate parents and the kids, foster those things to kids who don't have the resources, who may lack the resources or access, and just getting them those resources and putting them in positions to succeed. And some of the programs that we have are, we had the Jasmine Foundation. We teamed up with Wichita State University. They reached out, and Coach Holly and Coach Mark, and they have like a Wichita camp, every year in the summertime. And I've never been a part of it. I never was able to go. And so this is the second year. The first year we sent one girl. This year we sent a girl and a boy. And I was like, dang it, I'm kind of jealous. Like I wanted to, have the opportunity that, but really it's just creating opportunities, ones that I was able to have, but also ones that I wasn't, and just creating, because the times change and we just want to, keep evolving. And just provide them with those. And, we had one of the girls, Alicia, she was a recipient this year, and saying, like she bowls where she's from on wood lanes. And, I feel like when you're working with someone, they can only teach you or give you the information as much as they know. And so what we want to do is just, what's the word? We want to, just have them have other opportunities, to speak to new coaches, or to do new things that they've never done before, maybe hear something that they've never heard before, and learn something new. So we have that. What's new this year in October is the Jasmine Foundation Storm Nation Career Day. So it's kind of like similar to Bring a Child to Work Day. And kind of, I said before we were on here, this was my first year in December going to the storm plant. And so when I went, I was like, oh my God, I was just very amazed at all the things that go into it, or into me just being able to throw a ball. And I do realize not everyone wants to be a professional bowler. So, there's a lot, someone might want to be in the bowling industry, but they might not want to be a professional bowler. And so this is just a way to show them, like, here's all the different things, engineering, accounting, like all digital, like all these different things, marketing, that you can do if you don't want to be a professional bowler within the industry. So we're going to take 2 kids to that this year. And I think we had like something else, but we're just trying to find different things that are going to help the kids succeed, put them in positions to do well, give them access and resources. We're working on things too, like equipment, just stuff like that. Some of the kids don't have it. Because I know for me growing up, I didn't have the finances or the resources to get like new bowling balls all the time. I had like 3 balls. Once every so often I would get a new one, and I just would resurface the same one. Or my coaches, they would give me their kids or people in the league their older bowling balls, and I was happy with that. But I do think, and I think people who are in the bowling industry know that, like, having the equipment, new balls compared to old balls, you kind of have a little bit of an advantage, just a newer cover and all that stuff. So those are some of the things that we're doing with the foundation. We have merchandise. There t-shirts. There's like a light blue and a black. And all the proceeds for that, they go towards the foundation and help the kids with the different programs, and helping them, be a part of those things. Also, I have a group called Black Girls Can Bowl Too. And that is really just highlight and recognize Black women and women of color in the sport of bowling that I don't think are recognized the way that they should be. And it's just, right now we just have like social media, we just share different stories. Cause like when people think of bowling or professional bowling or just in general, they just think of me. And I'm like, I'm not the only Black woman. I was never the first. Like, it's not just me. There's many people, Cheryl Daniels, Coach Kim, Louise Fulton, like all these people Tish, all these people who came before me. Like it's not just me, and there are also people in college too who are been on junior team other than myself, and people aren't aware. And I even see these stories and I'm just like what? I didn't know about your story. I didn't know this existed. So we just want to share it, and we just want to shed light on their stories as well, or so some of their successes or struggles, because we kind of all go through the same things and we're more alike than we are different. So there's that as well. And then my company Got Game, and that's just to promote and elevate the sport of bowling, so we have the equal opportunities as traditional sports. And there's merchandise as well that the funds for that are used to help me on the tour. And there's like services like speaking and consulting and coaching, stuff like that. So I know it was kind of long, but those are the three things, with the foundation being one of the newest that I'm a part of, or just doing my best to help.
Yeah, those are all good things. I mean, two different things I noticed there is, for instance, I grew up playing sports, and sometimes it's not even that the parents don't want their kids to do it or they can't, their parents aren't, but sometimes a parent has to work full time and they barely have enough to sign them up for the sport. So I remember as a kid, we gave a ride to some kids because they had to walk to practice, or, so just any extra help I think a kid can get is always great, because sometimes it's like I said, it's not the parent doesn't want to help them. They might just not have the time, or they're working full time and they don't have it. And then the other thing, as you mentioned, there was a lot more other bowlers besides you, but they don't get the attention. But what is kind of cool is that you are getting that attention, but you're helping spread the word about them also, so at least sometimes when one person gets that platform, at least you're able to share the stories of others. And that's a good thing that you're doing.
Thank you.
That's it. I mean, to be an ambassador for our sport, I can't think of a better example than yourself. So I'm curious, what's next?
I don't know. I like, and kind of just going what you talked about, being an ambassador, like, I don't know. I don't have it figured out. I'm not perfect. Like, I just want everyone to know that I just, me and my family, my parents, we just figure it out as we go. Whether it's just bowling on the lanes, off the lanes, we're just figuring it out. And I honestly have like no idea what is next, but I know right now I took a break from bowling. Yesterday was actually the first day I bowled in like 15 days since the tour ended. So just to, I got a new ball drill, just trying it a little bit. It wasn't really like practice, but so really just getting back into, bowling, practicing, training, and then just finding new ways to, get some funds and partnerships and support for the foundation for the kids. And in October, which will be here before we know it, going to the Storm plant, for the two winners, or with the two winners, the recipients of the Storm GMF Career Day Scholarship. So those I would say are the things that I could think of that are kind of next. Other than that, just figuring it out one day at a time.
I got to bring up one video before I forget. There's a guy on TikTok. I had asked you if you had TikTok. You said not yet, but there's a TikTok video, and it might be on Instagram and stuff too, but I came across, because I like searched your name, like hashtag, and seen what would pop up, and there's a guy, he's like, and I think the caption says, maybe if I put my hair up in little puff balls like Gigi, I'll bowl better. And you see this guy, have you seen that video?
I saw that, like, yeah, I think my mom showed that to me and I was just like, what? So I shared it and I was like, it was a great laugh. I was like, wow, he really has like the Afro puffs. It was cool.
So you're inspiring kids, adults, hair, everything.
It was really cool.
That's crazy. Okay, well, Orly and I love to kind of get the behind the scenes. I'm curious. We've had other athletes on the show and we asked them the question too. Do you have like a ritual that you like to, or a superstition that you have to do this before, a big competition, or do you just, what's your routine?
Right. I mean, sometimes I'm still kind of like working through it and trying to figure it out, but like sometimes I would say at least when I'm competing, sometimes things change. Like if I'm just like doing something and like bowling really well, I'll make sure I stick to that because like my body is never the same every day. Like I'm never the same every day, you know. So sometimes, for example, if I'm like struggling and or if I'm like really, I would say if I'm really focused, sometimes what works that day mentally, I'll go back the next day and it won't be the same. So it's like trying to figure out what zone or what can I do to get locked and refocus my energy. So I would say more of my superstitions are like I would say when I'm competing more than rather than like behind the scenes or before I'm going to bowl and stuff like that. But I really just try to have a clear mind. I don't try to think too much. I'm kind of like relaxed, laid back, just go about my day, you know, get ready, eat some fruit and then just, you know, do my stretches and stuff like that, get my body warm and just go and let's just go for it.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we recently had Brian Deck who shot the 900 series, and
Oh
we
yeah.
asked him, you know, what it was like in those final few balls, and he's like, you know, I really don't remember anything. It was just like
Yeah.
nothing existed out here. So, laser focus, laser focus.
And besides bowling, is there a hobby that most people don't know that you do, or something fun you like to do that most people wouldn't know?
I mean, I if people have seen other things, maybe they would like know. But I really enjoy like yoga. I don't really speak on it too much. I don't like post videos about it, but if asked in like an interview or something, but yeah, I really do enjoy yoga, like hot yoga, even though it's I feel like I'm gonna pass out, but like it just relaxes me. You know, I just feel very calm and I just feel better after the session compared to when I first started. Like my body just feels better and I just honestly feel like I have more energy afterwards as well. So I would say yoga for sure, but I really just like relaxing. I don't do too much like party. Like I'm just super laid back and chill and I really do enjoy spending time with my parents. Like they're like my best friends. So spending as much time as I can with them, like if it's just us doing nothing and watch a movie, like I would go for it any day.
Oh,
So
wow. That's awesome when you can say that. That's
yeah.
absolutely awesome. Well, you know, as we said early on, you are an inspiration to so many people and you have so much positive impact on so many people's lives right now. Who would you say is your biggest inspiration
Yeah. So like within the sport of bowling or just like in general?
in general? Either way, in or out.
So I would say my biggest two inspirations, like outside the sport, would be my parents. Um, yeah, because the thing is too, they're not even bowlers. Like no one in my immediate family bowls. So the way like that the sport was presented to us and the fact that I got into it and stuck with it, it's kind of amazes me because like we just learned as we went. No one bowls. So I would say they're my definitely two biggest inspirations just to see them, you know, with the resources that we had and the sacrifices that they made and continue to make to help me fulfill my dreams. And you know, just watching my dad, well, not really watching because I'm asleep, but like knowing that he wakes up at 3 a.m., you know, every day to go into work and he's been doing it since I was like young. And I think his body's just adjusted to it. I'm like, Dad, you don't have to wake up that early anymore and go, but he still does it, you know. Sometimes I might be up, most of the time not, but just knowing that he's doing that, or my mom, you know, working and then coming home and she's being like attacked by me and my dad and all our questions and work, but she's trying to help me do the things, you know, to help me with my goals and stuff like that. But just seeing like their relentlessness, the hard work, and their like dedication to help me pursue my dreams is very like special to me. And I don't take that lightly. So that is definitely a motivator for me because at the end of the day, I'll never be able to repay my parents for all that they've done and continue to do. But just for us to reach the goals together, like, and whether it's like me winning on tour or just even out, like not even bowling related, but just even outside or off the lanes, like doing it together, I feel like is my like thank you to them. So they're my motivators off the lanes, my grandmother as well, my grandfather, grandfathers and grandmothers. And I would say on the lanes or within the bowling, I would say is Coach Kim Terrell, because like before, like I said, I wasn't into bowling. So when it was on TV or college or professional, like I never watched it. I it wasn't something that I wanted to do or interested in or really interested in at the time. So if it was on, I wouldn't have known, or I probably would have clicked the channel. But like as I got more involved in the sport, Coach Kim has definitely been someone who's helped me like through college. Just talking to me like on junior team, just helping me in college, helping me now, just trying on tour, just trying to figure it out. Yeah, I would say she was one of the people who've definitely helped me. And there's so many more, but those three for sure just come to mind like the quickest.
That's a testament to who you are as well. That's amazing. Well, I have a crazy question.
Okay.
You could meet anybody in the world. Who would it be? Dead or alive?
That's a really good question. I'll do one who passed away and one like still alive.
Okay. Fair enough.
I really wanted to meet Kobe. Kind of just like to have a conversation, pick his brain. We all know the Mamba mentality, but just like his dedication to the game, like to himself, like but to the sport at the same time. Yeah, and and I would say another person who's still that's a hard question. There's like a couple. I would say can I do like girl and a boy? Because this is like
Yeah, go for it.
I would probably say Serena Williams, because she's definitely her dedication to drive too. Whenever she's on TV, like I'm like, hey, we gotta watch Serena. Just watching her intensity, and she's someone who's been an inspiration to me as well. And I would say probably like Michael Jordan / I call him Bron, but like LeBron James, like them as well. So yeah.
That's awesome. And you have met some really interesting people. I know Orly was just very jealous of some of those, right, Orly?
Yeah, Mookie Betts. Like I said, I'm a huge Dodgers fan. I was telling my son, he's 9 and he's a huge baseball fan too. And I was like, the girl we're going to interview, she's met Mookie Betts. He's like, what? She has them all. Yeah. He's like, oh, that's cool. And him being a bowler, that's really cool because he's a big bowler too. So
he is. And he recently just had his a tournament for his like foundation. It was in California. I think it was definitely where All-Star Weekend was, or the same to that, and then the tournament. So he was there. I didn't get to really talk to him, but it was just a really, really cool tournament, cool vibes. And he bowled a little bit, and then he went and I think my parents said he actually went to present an award for the ESPYs or something like that. So yeah, he was there as well.
So speaking of other sports, what's your favorite other sport, whether it's to play or watch? Are you into any professional sports? And if so, what's your favorite team in that sport?
So I really enjoy basketball. I mean, like it's on all the time. Like my dad was basketball, football. So, but if there was another sport that I would watch, it would be tennis, because of Serena Venus, but also basketball. And I would only watch football more so to watch, like, if it's on, I'll watch it. But I really was a fan of Brady. So not necessarily the Patriots, because like the New England area, that's our team here. But it was more so a Brady fan. So like wherever he went, like when he went to the Tampa Bay, I was like, okay, well, I'm rooting for Brady. I wanted him in the Tampa Bay to win as well. But also too, I would say when he was still here, Kobe, I was more so a Kobe fan, so I rooted for the Lakers. I also I'm a fan of Bron as well, just his dedication and stuff, what he brings to the game. So I kind of root for the Lakers as well. So it's more so the players that I really like. I'll root for teams, but it's not really like a team that I'm like.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, I don't see how he gets some hate at times, and I'm like, you can't like knock the guy. Like, look at his rings. I don't care how he won them, or he had a team behind him. But I'm like, somebody do that. That's inspirational. I'm sure that inspires you to be like, man, someday I want to win all these titles, and just like like the more medals. And it's just like someone like that. It's like you cannot. I don't see how someone cannot like someone like that.
I don't know how, but he's great. So.
Well, Gigi, as we start to wrap the show today, first, I want to say again, we appreciate you taking time out today for us to chat with you and get to know a little bit more about you. Before we leave, is there any message of hope that you would like to leave with our viewers today?
Yes. It's actually a message too that I had sent to the kids. Oh, I forgot to say there was another that was the other program we had. It was the Gazmine Foundation. We partnered up with the PBA for the PBA Junior, and we sent last year 20 kids, and this year about 20 kids, and they got free entries into the PBA Junior, the regional national championship regional qualifier event, so that free entry into that. And then if they come in top two, they go to the national championship where they can win $10,000 in smart funds. And a message that I had to them is, whether they did well, whether they made the cut, whether they came in top two, or they didn't make the cut, like no matter what happens, as long as they gave it their all is the most important thing. But I would say, and I know it's hard, like the world we live in, but like not to compare yourself, and whatever happened or wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. Because it's preparing you for ultimately where you're gonna end up. And I preach that, but I also do my best to practice that as well, because I definitely would have liked to win. Like in my mind this year, my goals, like I was supposed to win, I wrote down like at least 2 titles this season, and it didn't happen. And I don't know why, but ultimately it's preparing me for the multiple titles that I will win in the future, So I would just say to never give up. And I know it's cliche, and I know people probably hear a lot of people say it, but it's very important to not give up and to not lose hope, no matter where you are, because everything we go through is for a greater purpose, and not necessarily for ourselves, but for like the people we're connected to as well. So yeah, you have to keep going, because there's times where I'm just like, oh, I'm just struggling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but I know it, my life is not really about me. And I don't think any of our lives are really about us. It's about, the people around us as well. And I know that some people look up to me, and I just have stuff to do while I'm here. So we got to get it done, and I got to keep going. So I would just say, just please don't give up, no matter how frustrating or how bad the situation may seem at that time, because it's definitely going to get better. Nothing lasts forever. So yeah.
What a
That's good
great
message, yeah.
message. What a great message.
I'm
Well,
excited to have you as a friend of the show. So I mean, now I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, Gigi's a friend of the show, So we definitely hope to bring you back another time, because I could talk to you for hours. It's just your messages that you're sending, and just everything you do. You're a great person.
Thank you.
absolutely. And you keep doing what you're doing, because it is making a difference on so many lives. So viewers, before we leave today, I just want to share with you that Orly and I have taken Beyond the Frame on the road again. So be watching. Next week, we're going to announce a new series that we're going to be doing that I think that everybody's going to really have a lot of fun with and learn a little bit more about what we do. So Gigi, you keep going, girl. You are doing a great job, and you're inspiring so many. And we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Viewers, until next time, keep striking.